I have something after this. I had to move it, but oh, it's fine. I'll make it work no matter what. So. You know what a Milan test is? No? Oh, I had one done. I brought it in case you care. I don't know. Milan. Yeah, it's like some multi-axial sort of psychological thing I had done a couple of years ago. It's like 2.5, something like that.
Like what, neuropsychological testing?
No, it was just like a. Well, I don't know if that involves machinery, but this was just like paper test. Confidential. Let's see, Milan clinical multi-axial inventory. So I brought this.
Okay. I might need to have a copy of that in your file.
Okay. You want me to just give it to the front desk, like on my way out, they can copy it? Or do you want to take a peek at it now? I think the major thing. Yeah, we do like that, and then I think maybe something on the next page.
I don't want that to actually influence my judgment.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay. Cool.
Hold on.
Yeah. Can I record this? Just because I really find psychology fascinating. I may want to listen to it later.
No.
I can't record it? No. Okay, cool.
All we talk about is confidential. And that is why you cannot record it.
Yeah, sure.
I can only break confidentiality if you're planning on hurting yourself or other people.
Okay.
Or if I need a second opinion, I can share some of your information on a need-to-go basis with some of your providers.
Okay.
Just for second opinion.
Yeah.
That doesn't come so often, but possible. And I might be looking too much into my keyboard. Forgive me, I'm not
It's fine.
that types without looking.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
If I need you to repeat yourself, please do not be frustrated, okay?
Sure. I was staying in South Carolina, and as sort of my grandmother talking to my mom thought that I should come in and see someone, and my grandmother thought it was a good idea, so to honor her wishes, I agreed to come in to get talk to a professional.
Why do you think your mom could set up this appointment?
So a year ago,
What's the reason of your visit here?
she believes I have a bipolar condition. I have a counselor that I was seeing over about a 1.5 year period here in Dallas, and he thought during my divorce last year that I had what could be considered a bipolar 2 episode last year.
So you say you saw a counselor?
I've seen a counselor for 2 years. Yeah, I have one here in town.
That person thought you have it, and the other one said you didn't, or what happened?
They don't. He doesn't think that I do.
You fit the criteria.
No, he's like, look, you have a strong personality. He's like, you know, I've used, alcohol and marijuana, and he helped with substances, but no, I mean, we did a diagnostic on April 5th of this year, and he said when we ran through, I think it was like 4 diagnostic, preliminary inventories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just screening, I guess.
Yeah, screening. He's like, well, he's like, nothing. He's like, your ideas are radical. He's like, but, I'm not seeing anything. Although I will say that there was a period from mid-February through mid-March, late March.
Last year.
And because of that, I had some instances where I was sort of like, I was paranoid because I had what I think was a spiritual experience, and it was very overwhelming for me at the time. Mm-hmm. Because it was such an intense experience over a period of, a couple weeks or so, the major event was is about a 90-second period, okay, where it was like I felt like I talked or God spoke to me directly, okay, not with using words or anything, but like walls vibrated, and it was a very intense experience. And sort of me dealing with that mentally, that intense experience, I got paranoid a little bit, like, wow, what does this mean for me if I actually had that communication? Is that real? It felt real, but does that mean I'm going crazy or something like that? And in that time, I had an instance where I talked to my family and I was like, look, this may mean I'm an important figure in the grand scheme of things, like kind of that sort of messianic complex.
And grandiose.
Yeah, grandiose. And then in that time, I alarmed my family, and I realized that I alarmed my family, and then I sort of came down from it, and I was able to process what happened. And then since then, I feel better, but my mother, she feels, because she's a mental health professional, she's like, look, if you had that happen once, it could happen again. And for me, what I've done is, I feel like I've been able to sort of work through it. And
Were you also using drugs back then?
Yeah, I was smoking pot, and then also on that day I smoked a little bit of pot. But I was smoking pretty regularly, and then also drinking alcohol too, but not on that particular day of that event. But since then, I'm sober, for over a month, which is a lot for me because I've always struggled with drugs and alcohol, or marijuana and alcohol. And I would go further than saying grandiose. I would say Son of God. Yeah, not Jesus though. His brother James. Do you hear that a lot? You do.
Mm-hmm.
The brother thing. Or they think they're Jesus.
Which one?
Like the grandiose thing. Like, do they think they're Jesus, or they think they're like relative or brother?
It's more about grandiosity.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Feeling some kind of superpowers and things like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been hospitalized for any mental illness or addiction or
Nope.
anything like that?
And I haven't taken anything prescribed. I'll also tell you the way that I feel now, and sort of since I've come down from that, intense feelings, is exactly how I've felt my entire life. Just balanced and normal. Which is weird because my mother said, she's like, well, once you, have the bipolar break, you can't come down from it without medication. And I'm like, well, then why do I feel so balanced? She's like, well, I don't know, but my gut tells me you're bipolar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you've never taken any antidepressant before?
No. I don't feel depressed. I'm not a depressive person. I think that I have had manic episodes, like, where, not like I'm not sleeping at all, or I'll sleep for 1 or 2 hours a night, but like, sometimes I'll take it down to where it's 4.5 hours, or 4, a couple nights in a row.
You say you have manic episodes?
Well, yeah, in terms of like, not...
Describe it to me.
Really all it is, like, I've had 3 LLCs, right? So like when I get focused on a business and I'm trying to like get it going, I'll just be focused on it, like, a lot. And if I'm, like, one was a quantitative hedge fund, right? And the market hours were 23.25 hours a day. So, oil's trading overnight, so I'm like, well, sometimes I'd only have like 4 hours of sleep or 3.5 hours of sleep, and that would happen for a couple days in a row. But then on the weekend I would catch up,
And that would be just to achieve something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like you don't want to sleep, or you don't have the need to sleep.
No, I'm doing something. I'm working on something. And in fact,
do you have a high energy at that moment? Do you feel like you have so much energy you don't need to sleep?
No, like, trust me, if I stay up, like, I need my sleep, right? Okay. So like, I can't stay up for 3 days in a row, or I can't even, if I try to stay up for 24 hours in a period, I can't function. I know I need sleep. I just get focused. And that's why my previous counselor, he's like, look, I think, you could be, people may say, well, you're like bipolar 2. He's like, but really, you just get focused on something and you just sort of run at it.
Did you read over about bipolar before you come in here?
I've read more books on psychology than you could ever imagine. Like, in fact, my counselor, he'll call me sometimes and say, hey, give me a good book you've read about X or Y, Like the last time he contacted me, he said, tell me about harm reduction. Did you come across any books, for substance abuse on harm reduction? So.
Any hypersexuality at all?
No. I'll masturbate, but not like, I wouldn't call it hyper, and no risky sexual behavior.
Okay.
I think I've had maybe I've slept with one woman this year, that's my ex-wife, and then last year I slept with probably 4.
So you don't take risky behaviors?
Well, I mean,
You do a lot of spending sprees and
I'll spend money. Yeah,
money
definitely.
that you have, or money that you turn around and be like, gosh, why did I even do this, and go return things and things like that.
More like for travel and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, money that I have, I don't. When I get focused on something, I will spend. So like, you could interpret that as saying, yeah, like I'll spend money that I shouldn't. It's tough because I always have a reason. It's not like I'm spending it frivolously. I'm working on a business.
It's not an impulsion or anything like that.
No, it's more like when I spend money, it's for business-related activities.
Okay.
And because of what I was doing last year, I started an entertainment company that had me traveling around the entire world.
Okay.
So I was spending a lot, but it was for a business purpose. Like,
Do you feel like you're impulsive?
I think people would say that I'm impulsive.
Are you the kind of person that works out of the house and come back with a tattoo that you didn't even plan?
No. I never. No arrests. No arrests where I'm like.
Something you didn't plan, and all of a sudden, then bam.
No.
You're coming home with a brand new car and things like that.
No, everything's premeditated with me.
Okay. All right, that's a different story.
But I mean, in terms of confidence, like if there's an instance where it's like, well, I could do this and take that sort of chance confidently or not, I'll take the chance every time.
That's different.
Yeah, I'm a very confident
person.
person.
Like you're kind of irritable a lot?
No.
Mood swinging? And
no, although I included something there that said, this homeless man asked me for some money. I was recording people admitting sort of all of the bad stuff they've done in their lives. Okay. And I asked him, I was like, well, why don't you come on camera with me and I'll record this. He's like, okay, but hold on. And then I yelled at him and I was like, why did I just yell at that guy? I never yell at anyone. But it kind of alarmed me. I was like, why did I just do that? I was like, oh, and I felt bad. So, and I was at a light. He was next to me. So I just and the light turned green and then I drove off. But that was the only instance where I was agitated and it alarmed me. I was like, ooh, I shouldn't do that. I feel like I was able to adjust from it. So. My gut tells me I don't need any medication. I don't need to be here. I think I had a spiritual experience.
From what I'm seeing right here, do you feel like you worry a lot?
Nope.
Stressed out a lot?
No. That's the thing. I think 2 years ago, like when that Milan test was done, I was a different person. Not saying like I was more worried, or I guess I was more bought into sort of societal expectations back then, like what I should do, what I should buy, how I should look. And now it's much more.
That's what I was thinking. It's psychological testing.
Yeah. And I did that because I was seeing a PhD psychiatrist in Dallas, and he was like, he's like, why don't you have this Milan done? So I went up to the next floor and we had it done and we talked about it. He's like, look, you're an entrepreneur. You're supposed to rank a little high when it comes to feeling sort of confident and grandiose and stuff like that. He's like, this is normal. He goes, some of the most important, leaders in the world kind of have these sort of, traits. He's like, sometimes it can be bad, other times good, but he's like, this is normal, so. And even since then, I've bought in less to sort of expectations, so I'm much less stressed. Money's not important as much to me anymore. I think it's because I was able to spend a lot of time in very luxurious places over the past couple years, and I realized it doesn't matter if you're on the French Riviera in a 5-star hotel. Some people are just miserable in there, you know what I mean? And people sort of desire these really opulent lifestyles, but really it's just an empty feeling. So I feel much more balanced now. So. And I never heard voices during that period. It was more just like the walls just sort of vibrated for 90 seconds, and I really felt like, I felt the presence of God.